The Arabian Nights. So the king met the mysterious young man in the desolated palace close to the magic lake of the colored fish. After talking for a while, the king saw that while one half of the young man, from the navel to the head, was human flesh, the other half, from the navel to the feet, was black stone. He then said, "Hurry up, young man, and tell me your story." The young man replied, "Lend me your ears, your eyes, and your mind." The king replied, "My ears, my eyes, and my mind are ready." The young man said, "This is the story. The tale of the enchanted king. My story, and the story of the fish you saw in the lake, is a strange and amazing one, which, if it could be engraved with needles at the corner of the eye, would be a lesson to those who would consider. My lord, my father was the king of this city, and his name was King Mahmud of the Black Islands, for these 4 hills were islands. He ruled for 70 years, and when he died, I succeeded him and married my cousin. She loved me very much so that if I was away from her, even for a single day, she would refuse to eat and drink until I returned to her. In this way, we lived together for 5 years until one day she went to the bath and I ordered the cook to grill meat and prepare a sumptuous supper for her. Then I entered this palace, lay down in this very spot where you are sitting now, and ordered 2 maids to fan me, one at my head and one at my feet. But I felt uneasy and could not go to sleep. While I lay with my eyes closed, breathing heavily, I heard the girl at my head say to the one at my feet, "Oh Masuda, what a pity for our poor master with our damned mistress, and him so young." The other one replied, "What can one say?
May God damn all treacherous, adulterous women. Alas, it is not right that such a young man like our master lives with this bitch who spends every night out." Masuda added, "Is our master stupid? When he wakes up at night, doesn't he find that she is not by his side? Does she leave our master with his wits about him? No, she places a sleeping potion in the last drink he takes, offers him the cup, and when he drinks it, he sleeps like a dead man. Then she leaves him and stays out till dawn. When she returns, she burns incense under his nose, and when he inhales it, he wakes up. What a pity."
My lord, when I heard the conversation between the 2 maids, I was extremely angry, and I could hardly wait for the night to come. When my wife returned from the bath, we had the meal served but ate very little. Then we retired to my bed, and I pretended to drink the contents of the cup, which I poured out, and went to sleep. No sooner had I fallen on my side than my wife said, "Go to sleep, and may you never rise again. By God, your sight disgusts me, and your company bores me." Then she put on her clothes, perfumed herself with burning incense, and, taking my sword, girded herself with it. Then she opened the door and walked out. My lord, I got up. But morning overtook Scheherazade, and she lapsed into silence. Then Dinarzade said, "Oh, my lady, what an amazing and entertaining story." Scheherazade replied, "What is this compared with what I shall tell you tomorrow night?" And so we got to the 23rd night. It is related, O king, that the enchanted young man said to the king, "Then I followed her, as she left the palace and traversed my city until she stood at the city gate. There she uttered words I could not understand, and the locks fell off, and the gate opened by itself. She went out, and I followed her until she slipped through the trash mounds and came to a hut built with palm leaves, leading to a domed structure built with sun-dried bricks. After she entered, I climbed to the top of the dome, and when I looked inside, I saw my wife standing before a decrepit black man sitting on reed shavings and dressed in tatters. She kissed the ground before him, and he raised his head and said, "Damn you, why are you late? My black cousins were here, They played with the bat and ball, sang and drank brewed liquor. They had a good time, each with his own girlfriend, except for myself, for I refused even to drink with them because you were absent. My wife replied, "Oh, my lord and lover, don't you know that I am married to my cousin, who finds me most loathsome and detests me more than anyone else? Were it not for your sake, I would not have let the sun rise before reducing his city to rubble, a dwelling place for the bears and the foxes, where the owl hoots and the crow crows, and would have hurled its stones beyond Mount Kaf." He replied, "Damn you, you are lying. I swear in the name of black chivalry that as of tonight, if my cousins visit me and you fail to be present, I will never befriend you, lie down with you, or let my body touch yours. You cursed woman, you have been playing with me like a piece of marble, and I am subject to your whims, you cursed, rotten woman." My lord, when I heard their conversation, the world started to turn black before my eyes, and I lost my senses. Then I heard my wife crying and imploring, "Oh, my lover and my heart's desire, if you remain angry at me, whom else have I got? And if you turn me out, who will take me in? Oh, my lord, my lover, and light of my eye." She kept crying and begging until he was appeased. Then, feeling happy, she took off her outer garments and asked, "My lord, have you anything for your little girl to eat?" The black man replied, "Open the copper basin." And when she lifted the lid, she found some leftover fried rat bones. After she ate them, he said to her, "There is some brewed liquor left in that jug. You may drink it." She drank the liquor and washed her hands and lay beside the black man on the reed shavings. Then she undressed and slipped under his tatters. I climbed down from the top of the dome and, entering through the door, grabbed the sword that my wife had brought with her and drew it, intending to kill both of them. I first struck the black man on the neck and thought that I had killed him. But morning overtook Scheherazade, and Dinarzade said, "Sister, what an incredible story." Scheherazade replied, "Tomorrow night I shall tell you something more entertaining, if I live." And so, the 24th night, I heard, O king, that the enchanted young man said to the king, "My lord, I struck the black man on the neck, but failed to cut the two arteries. Instead, I only cut into the skin and flesh of the throat, and thought that I had killed him." He began to snort violently, and my wife pulled away from him. I retreated, put the sword back in its place, and went back to the city. I entered the palace and went to sleep in my bed till morning. When my wife arrived and I looked at her, I saw that she had cut her hair and put on a mourning dress. She said, "Husband, don't reproach me for what I am doing, for I have received news that my mother has died, that my father was killed in the holy war, and that my two brothers have also lost their lives, one in battle, the other bitten by a snake. I have every reason to weep and mourn." When I heard what she said, I did not reply, except to say, "I don't reproach you, do as you wish." She mourned for an entire year, weeping and wailing. When the year ended, she said to me, "I want you to let me build inside the palace a mausoleum for me to use as a special place of mourning and to call it the House of Sorrows." I replied, "Go ahead." Then she gave the order, and a house of mourning was erected for her, with a domed mausoleum and a tomb inside. Then, my lord, she moved the wounded black man to the mausoleum and placed him in the tomb. But although he was still alive, from the day I cut his throat, he never spoke a word or was able to do her any good except to drink liquids. She visited him in the mausoleum every day, morning and evening, bringing with her beverages and broth, and she kept at it for an entire year, while I held my patience and left her to her own devices. One day, while she was unaware, I entered the mausoleum and found her crying and lamenting. When I see your distress, it pains me, as you see, and when I see you not, it pains me, as you see. Oh, speak to me, my life, my master, talk to me." Then she sang, "The day I have you is the day I crave. The day you leave me is the day I die. Were I to live in fear of promised death, I'd rather be with you than my life save." Then she recited the following verses. "If I had every blessing in the world, and all the kingdom of the Persian king, if I see not your person with my eyes, all this will not be worth an insect's wing." When she stopped crying, I said to her, "Wife, you have mourned and wept enough, and further tears are useless." She replied, "Husband, do not interfere with my mourning. If you interfere again, I will kill myself." I kept quiet and left her alone while she mourned, wept, and lamented for another year. One day, after the third year, feeling the strain of this drawn-out, heavy burden, something happened to trigger my anger, and when I returned, I found my wife in the mausoleum beside the tomb, saying, "My lord, I have not had any word from you. For 3 years I have had no reply." Then she recited the following verses. O tomb, has he his beauties lost? Or have you lost yourself that radiant look? O tomb, neither a garden nor a star, the sun and moon at once, how can you host?" These verses added anger to my anger, and I said to myself, "Oh, how much longer shall I endure?" Then I burst out with the following verses. O tomb, has he his blackness lost? Or have you lost yourself that filthy look? O tomb, neither a toilet nor a heap of dirt, charcoal and mud at once, how can you host?" When my wife heard me, she sprang up and said, "Damn you, dirty dog! It was you who did this to me, wounded my beloved, and tormented me by depriving me of his youth, while he has been lying here for 3 years, neither alive nor dead." I said to her, "You, dirtiest of whores and filthiest of all venal women who ever desired and copulated with black slaves, yes, it was I who did this to him." Then I grabbed my sword and drew it to strike her. But when she heard me and realized that I was determined to kill her, she laughed and said, "Get away, you dog. Alas, alas, what is done cannot be undone, nor will the dead come back to life. But God has delivered into my hand the one who did this to me and set my heart ablaze with the fire of revenge." Then she stood up, uttered words I could not understand, and cried, "With my magic and cunning be half man, half stone." Sir, from that instant, I have been as you now see me, dejected and sad, helpless and sleepless, neither living with the living nor dead among the dead. But morning overtook Scheherazade, and she lapsed into silence. Then Dinarzade said, "Sister, what a captivating story." Scheherazade replied, "Tomorrow night I shall tell you something more entertaining, if the king spares me and lets me live." We are now in the 25th night. After my wife turned me into this condition, she cast a spell on the city, with all its gardens, fields, and markets, the very place where your troops are camping now. My wife turned the inhabitants of my city, who belong to 4 sects, Muslims, Magians, Christians, and Jews, into fish, the Muslims white, the Magians red, the Christians blue, and the Jews yellow. Likewise, she turned the islands into 4 hills surrounding the lake. As if what she has done to me and the city is not enough, she strips me naked every day and gives me 100 lashes with the whip until my back is lacerated and begins to bleed. Then she clothes my upper half with a hair shirt like a coarse rug and covers it with these luxurious garments. Then the young man burst into tears and recited the following verses. O Lord, I bear with patience your decree, and so that I may please you, I endure, that for their tyranny and unfair use, our recompense, your paradise may be. You never let the tyrant go, my Lord, pluck me out of the fire, Almighty God. The king said to the young man, "Young man, you have lifted one anxiety but added another worry to my worries. But where is your wife, and where is the mausoleum with the wounded black man?" The young man replied, "O king, the black slave is lying in the tomb inside the mausoleum, which is in the adjoining room. My wife comes to visit him at dawn every day, and when she comes, she strips me naked and gives me 100 lashes with the whip, while I cry and scream without being able to stand up and defend myself, since I am half stone, half flesh and blood. After she punishes me, she goes to the black slave to give him beverages and broth to drink. Tomorrow at dawn she will come as usual." The king replied, "By God, young man, I shall do something for you that will go down in history and commemorate my name." Then the king sat to converse with the young man until night fell, and they went to sleep. The king got up before dawn, took off his clothes, and, drawing his sword, entered the room with the domed mausoleum and found it lit with candles and lamps and scented with incense, perfume, saffron, and ointments. He went straight to the black man and killed him. Then he carried him out and threw him in a well inside the palace. When he came back, he put on the clothes of the black man, covered himself, and lay hiding at the mausoleum, with the drawn sword hidden under his clothes. A while later, the cursed witch arrived, and the first thing she did was to strip her husband naked, take a whip, and whip him again and again while he cried, "Ah, wife, have pity on me, help me. I have had enough punishment and pain, have pity on me." She replied, "You should have had pity on me and spared my lover." After the witch punished her husband by whipping him until his sides and shoulders were bleeding, and she satisfied her thirst for revenge, she dressed him with the coarse hair shirt and covered it with the outer garments. Then she headed to the black man with the usual cup of drink and the broth. She entered the mausoleum, reached the tomb, and began to cry, wail and lament, saying, "Lover, denying me yourself is not your custom. Do not be stingy, for my foes gloat over our separation. Be generous with your love, for forsaking is not your custom. Visit me, for my life is in your visit. O my Lord, speak to me. O my Lord, entertain me." Then she sang the following verses of the Mufrad variety. "For how long is this cruel disdain? Have I not paid with enough tears? O lover, talk to me. O lover, speak to me. O lover, answer me." The king lowered his voice, stammered, and, simulating the accent of black people, said, "Ah, ah, ah, there is no power and no strength save in God the Almighty." When she heard him speak, she screamed with joy and fainted, and when she came to herself, she cried, "Is it true that you spoke to me?" The king replied, "Damn you, you don't deserve that anyone should speak to you or answer you." She asked, "What is the cause?" He replied, "All day long you punish your husband while he screams for help. From sunset till dawn he cries, implores, and invokes God against you and me with his deafening and enervating cries that deprive me of sleep. If it had not been for this, I would have recovered a long time ago. And this is why I have not spoken to you or answered you." She said, "My lord, if you allow me, I shall deliver him from his present condition." He replied, "Deliver him and rid us of his noise." She went out of the mausoleum, took a bowl, and, filling it with water, uttered a spell over it, and the water began to boil and bubble as in a cauldron over fire. Then she sprinkled the young man with the water and said, "By the power of my spell, if the Creator has created you in this form, or if he has turned you into this form out of anger at you, stay as you are. But if you have been transformed by my magic and cunning, turn back to your normal form by the will of God, Creator of the world." The young man shook himself at once and stood up, erect and sound, and he rejoiced and thanked God for his deliverance. Then his wife said to him, "Get out of my sight and don't ever come back, for if you do and I see you here, I shall kill you." She yelled at him, and he went away. Then she returned to the mausoleum and, descending to the tomb, called out, "My sweet lord, come out and let me see your handsome face." The king replied in a muffled voice, "You have rid me of the limb, but failed to rid me of the body." She asked, "My sweet lord, what do you mean by the body?" He replied, "Damn you, cursed woman, it is the inhabitants of this city and its 4 islands. For every night at midnight, the fish raised their heads from the lake to implore and invoke God against me, and this is why I do not recover. Go to them and deliver them at once, then come back to hold my hand and help me rise, for I am beginning to feel better already." When she heard him, she rejoiced and replied joyfully, "Yes, my lord, yes, with God's help, my sweetheart." Then she rose, went to the lake, and took a little of its water. Then the wife uttered some words over the lake, and the fish began to dance. And at that instant the spell was lifted, and the townspeople resumed their usual activities and returned to their buying and selling. Then she went back to the palace, entered the mausoleum, and said, "My lord, give me your gracious hand and rise." The king replied in a muffled voice, "Come closer to me." She moved closer while he urged her, "Come closer still." And she moved until her body touched his. Then he pushed her back, and with one stroke of the sword sliced her in half, and she fell in 2 to the ground. Then the king went out and, finding the enchanted young man waiting for him, congratulated him on his deliverance, and the young man kissed his hand, thanked him, and invoked God's blessing on him. Then the king asked him, "Do you wish to stay here or come with me to my city?" The young man replied, "King of the age and lord of the world, do you know the distance between your city and mine?" The king replied, "It is a half-day journey." The young man said, "O king, you are dreaming, for between your city and mine it is a full year's journey. You reached us in half a day because the city was enchanted." The king asked, "Still, do you wish to stay here in your city, or come with me?" The young man replied, "O king, I shall not part from you even for one moment." The king was happy and said, "Thank God who has given you to me. You shall be a son to me, for I have never had one." They embraced, holding each other closely, and felt happy. Then they walked together back to the palace, and when they entered the palace, the enchanted young king announced to the eminent men of his kingdom and to his retinue that he was going on a journey. He spent 10 days in preparation, packing what he needed together with the gifts that the princes and merchants of the city had given him for his journey. Then he set out with the king, with his heart on fire, to be leaving his city for a whole year. He left with 50 Mamluks and many guides and servants, bearing 100 loads of gifts, rarities and treasures, as well as money. They journeyed on evening and morning, night and day, for a whole year, until God granted them safe passage and they reached their destination. Then the king sent someone to inform the vizier of his safe return. And the vizier came out with all the troops and most of the townspeople to meet him. Having given him up for lost, they were exceedingly happy, and the city was decorated, and its streets were spread with silk carpets. The vizier and the soldiers dismounted, and kissing the ground before the king, congratulated him on his safety and invoked God's blessing on him. Then they entered the city. And the king sat on his throne and, meeting with the vizier, explained to him why he had been absent for an entire year. He told him the story of the young man and how he, the king, had dealt with the young man's wife and saved him and the city. And the vizier turned to the young man and congratulated him on his deliverance. Then the princes, viziers, chamberlains, and deputies took their places, and the king bestowed on them robes of honor, gifts, and other favors. Then he sent for the fisherman, who was the cause of saving the young man and the city. And when the fisherman stood before the king bestowed on him robes of honor, and then asked him, "Do you have any children?" The fisherman replied that he had one boy and two girls. The king had them brought before him, and he himself married one of the girls, while he married the other to the enchanted young man. Moreover, the king took the fisherman's son into his service and made him one of his attendants. Then he conferred authority on the vizier, appointing him king of the city of the Black Islands, supplied him with provisions and fodder for the journey, and ordered the 50 Mamluks who had come with them, as well as a host of other people, to go with him. He also sent with him many robes of honor and many fine gifts for all the princes and prominent men there. The vizier took his leave, kissed the king's hand, and departed. The king, the enchanted young man, and the fisherman lived peacefully thereafter, and the fisherman became one of the richest men of his time, with daughters married to kings. But morning overtook Scheherazade, and she lapsed into silence. Then Dinarzade said, "Sister, what a captivating story." Scheherazade replied, "Tomorrow night I shall tell you something more entertaining, if the king spares me and lets me live." In the Arabian Nights,